Hello, my name is Alexandra Rusina, and I'm a programming writer for C# and Visual Basic languages. I'm going to show you how you can convert a Visual Basic for Applications macro to C# application. And I'm going to follow a common scenario when people record a macro using Microsoft Office and port the code to their applications. I enter two numbers, and I use autofill to get 10 numbers. And then I change the color of this column to blue. And finally, I want to add a simple chart to display these 10 numbers. And I'm going to use cone chart. That's it. Now I can stop recording. And let's see what I have. Okay, here is my macro. I don't want to edit it here, so I want to copy it to Visual Studio 2010. In Visual Studio, I start with creating a new project. It's gonna be Visual C# console application because it's the easiest choice. And the first step is to add a reference to my project. And this should be a reference to Microsoft Office Interop Excel assembly. Here it is. Now I want to create a shortcut, so I don't need to type the full name every time I need to use an Excel object. Okay, now I need to create an Excel application. And I also want to add a new workbook to this application, so I have something to work with. And finally, I want to make my application visible. That's it. Now I want to copy VBA code here, and you can see that it's all highlighted as error because C# doesn't know anything about such objects as active cell or selection. These are in fact properties of Excel application object. So I use Alt plus mouse to select the first column, so I can add Excel up dot to all the lines at once. The next thing I need to fix is with block, because C# doesn't know anything about that. I again copy the selection interior, and then I use Alt plus mouse to copy it inside the with block, and then I can delete the first and the last lines of this block. Now I need to fix some syntax. C#4 has index properties, but it uses a different syntax, so I need to change all the parentheses to square brackets, and I can use simple find and replace to do this. One more new feature in C# is optional parameters, and again it uses a little bit different syntax. In VB you use colon plus equal sign, and in C# it should be just colon. Again, I can use simple find and replace to fix this syntactic problem. Okay. Now is the most boring part. I need to add semicolons and parentheses to all method calls, and I need to do it manually. Of course, there are tools that can do it for you automatically, but if you have a small application like the one I have here, it's probably faster and easier to do it manually. Okay, I'm done. You can see that there are not that many errors left. Range objects, again, I need to copy Excel app and add it to each range object. And finally, I have constants. Constants, again, in VBA there are global variables, and C# stores them in classes, and I need to find which classes each constant belongs to. I use Object Browser for that, so I simply copy the name of the constant, and then I see in which class the constant is stored. And then I just copy the fully qualified name to my program. Okay, sometimes you can see that the constant can be in more than one class, And in this case, you can usually guess by name which one you need. The most common one is usually Microsoft Office interop excel.constants. So if you're not sure which one you need, this is probably the most frequent one. But again, it's pretty easy to guess by name. You can see that basically almost all highlightings are gone, and I don't need to add any missing parameters or deal with index properties except for syntax error, and I am done with my application. And the last step I have to do is just to compile and run. Here is my Excel spreadsheet, and it has all the data that I needed, and I spent less than 5 minutes on converting it from VBA to C#.